So I just want my Republican colleagues to hear me out for a second here. As a white dude, as a pretty privileged white dude, there's been a lot of talk on this amendment and others about how, of course, we're going to uphold the law. This is already coded into place. We're going to take care of it. But you all got to understand, I hear that we were founded on the premise of e pluribus unum. Equal protection was not written into our Constitution. That came with the 14th Amendment. We were founded as a country where most people in this country could not even vote. And we are now sitting here today in a world where this Supreme Court, with judges appointed by Donald Trump, are deeply hostile to the entirety of the 14th Amendment. They nullified Section 3 of the 14th Amendment so that Donald Trump could get on the ballot. This Supreme Court essentially gutted the ability to have affirmative action under the provisions of the 14th Amendment, arguing that it's okay for colleges to seek diversity in terms of regional distribution around the country, in terms of academic interests, in terms of a mix of jocks versus nerds, but God forbid they seek diversity on a racial basis. And now this new president has said that he wants to get rid of birthright citizenship, which is the plain text of the 14th Amendment. So what are we left with? We're left with the Equal Protection Clause in there if they succeed in all those things, and you're asking us to listen and say, well, we're going to honor that. We took an oath when we got this job just a few weeks ago to defend the Constitution, not just the parts we like, the whole thing. And so if we are going to have a good and constructive bipartisan term, it costs you all nothing to simply say that in this committee we are committed to equal protection regardless of what another person in a co-equal branch has to say. I don't know why you wouldn't. I hope that you will. Yield back.
Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition?
Move to strike.
The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Part of our responsibility in the majority is to listen, but also part of our responsibility is to speak also, perhaps to not defend positions, but to add some level of content. I'm from Texas. We have people that walk across the border every day just to have children in this country. That is against the law. We have people that fly to territories of the United States, fly in just to have babies. To get an American passport, to get the American whatever is offered. I think what the President of the United States, Donald Trump, said is that in his executive order, he would like to challenge the Congress and government agencies to look at this issue, to be thoughtful about it, to gather together some what I would call facts of the case, what I would call ideas about perhaps the misrepresentation, how people are taking advantage of this. I'm sick and tired of people coming to this country and killing our law enforcement officers, as happened to a Border Patrol agent just a day or two ago. I'm sick and tired of criminals finding loopholes in the benevolence that this country has. I'm sick and tired of seeing politicians and people who will allow our federal law enforcement and sheriffs that are isolated in places a long way from their necessarily work location, men and women who are out the beaten path trying to protect this great nation. And I think it's worthy to be able to say that a country should be able to decide what its policies are. Other countries choose not to allow anyone to become a citizen, not allow anybody to come and work in their cities. in their countries. And yet others allow anybody to come, but they can never become a citizen no matter what. This country should make its own decision. But I think it's a little short-sighted simply to take advantage of what I think the president said in his directive, and that was, I think, the way I read it is, he wants us to look at the facts of the case and see what we think about it. He's challenging Congress. That's us, and that's you too. To take a look at the facts of the case and to see what would merit looking at the policy and seeing if we need to change it. This was done as a result of the Civil War. The gentleman is correct. But I don't think that it should mean that anybody that comes here under today's measures and conditions, just because they step across the border to have a baby, that should make them an American. So I think it's probably something that we need to occasionally stand up and just defend what the president said and also what we think is a good review. And I appreciate the gentleman taking his time to provide his feedback, because that is part of what this is about. And certainly Mrs. Beatty has done that, and the chairwoman from California, our former chairman, has done that same thing, and you've articulated carefully and thoughtfully what your ideas are. Our job is to listen also. But I think occasionally good reviews of policies where people take advantage of you is the right thing to do. And so, Mr. Chairman, that's what I intend to do. And I want to thank the gentleman for yielding time to me. I'll yield back my time.